Hello all. Today we shall be studying about lists in Python. A list is nothing but a collection of elements which can be denoted by a single variable. These elements are separated by commas and enclosed within square brackets. The values in a list can be of any data type, and these values can also be duplicate. If you see here, I have included a string value, integer values and decimal values. So the values in a list can be of any data type. These elements or values are indexed. And the biggest and most powerful feature of a list is that it is mutable. That means the elements of a list can be changed. Now, how do you create a list? A list can be created by giving the square brackets to a variable or by using the list function. So if you see here, this will be creating an empty list, and when I give print my list 1, this gave me an empty list. If you want to give the values to a list, you have to manually type them, separating them with commas and enclosing them with square brackets. You can also convert a string value to a list by using the list function. So all the alphabets of the string get converted to elements of the list. So welcome here has all the alphabets of welcome have become elements of a list. Now, indexing is one of the most powerful features of a list. You have two types of indexing in lists as you have in strings. One is the forward indexing, which starts from 0 and goes still from left to right. And the second one is backward indexing or negative indexing, which starts from -1 from the end of the list and goes from right to left. Now, let us see how to access the list elements. So if I want to access a particular list element, I will be giving the index value within square brackets. So if you see here, I have a list LT1 and I want to access index value 1. So I have given 1 in square brackets and then it gives me this particular symbol. Same way I can use the negative indexing. So I've given LT1 -3. So it gives me this particular symbol. Now if you see here, if I give LT1 of 4 or LT1 of -1, this gives me the same last value. So you can use either the negative or the positive indexing. Both of them will give you the same answer. Now, let us see how we can do list slicing. In order to perform list slicing, we need to have three variables: start, stop, and step. Start is the position from where the list index slicing will start. Stop is the position from at which the slicing will end, and the slicing stops at stop -1 position. So it goes till stop but does not include the stop position, and step indicates the number of jumps. As in the range function, the default value of start is 0. For step it is 1 and stop means the last index of the list if we do not give the stop value. So here I'm performing list slicing, that is I'm taking part of the list and displaying it. So if I give my list 1, 2 to 5, so we'll start at index position 2 and go till 5 but not include 5. So if you see here, it displayed the cat, the rat and the rabbit. So it will go up till position 5 but not include index position 5. Similarly, now I have not given the starting point here. So I'm going to start from 0, which is the default position, and go till 3 but not include 3. So this will display the snake, the tortoise and the cat. I can also use the negative indexing like I said before. So here I've given -2 and I have not given the end of the list. Now if I do not give the ending point or the stopping point, so the control will go till the end of the list and the last element of the list will also get included. So this starts from -2, and since I have not given the stopping position, this will go till the end of the list, and so the pigeon or the sparrow will also get included. So I have the rabbit and the sparrow here. Now If I want to give a jumping condition here, I want to move multiple number of steps. So I've given here from -5, go till the end of the list and take a step of 2. So I start from -5, which is this position, and then I go till the end of the list. So this is going to move from left to right, and I'm going to take a jump of 2. So the first element that will be displayed will be the tortoise. Then I take a jump of 2, and then the next, the rat will be displayed. Again, since I have not given the end position, so I continue to traverse till the end of the list. So again, I'll take a jump of 2, and the last element, that is the sparrow, will be displayed. I can also move backwards. By default, it moves from left to right, but if I want to move backwards, I can give a negative step. So here I'm starting from 5 and I want to move till 1. So I'm going to give a -2. So we start from this position. So the sparrow is displayed, then we take a jump of 2, and so the rat is displayed. Now since I've given the end point, so the end point is never included. So if I take a jump of 2, it will come till 1, but I am not going to include 1. So only these two elements will get displayed. Now, if I want to display the list in reverse, then I can denote it using this. I will not give the starting position or the ending position, and I just give the step as -1. So this list will move backwards, and so the list will be displayed in reverse. Let us see this notation in Python now. So I've taken list 1 as these elements, and I'm repeated the same commands that I did in the previous slide. So all list slices are also sublists. So all your functions and operators which work on lists will also work on the list slices. So you can create your own list using a list slice also. So if you see, I have taken list 2 as list 1 of 2 to 5. So we start at position 2 and go till 5 but not include 5. So this will have 30, 40 and 50. So list 2 will now have these three elements. If you see here, I have not given the ending position. So from -2, it will go till the end of the list, and the last element is also printed. So 50 and 60 got printed. So this is how you perform list slicing. Now, let us look at list membership and comparison. The membership operators you already know are in and not in. So if I have two lists like here, list 1 and list 2, and I want to check whether a specific element is available in the list, I can use the in function. So I've given 7 in list 1. So that gives me a false since 7 is not part of or not an element of list 1. And if I check 4 in list 1, 4 is an element of list 1. So that will give me true. In and not in return Boolean value. So you will either get a true or a false value. Now I have a list of vowels here. So I'm checking I not in list 2. Now I is already there in list 2. So not in will become false. Okay, now if I want to check comparison, I can also check greater than, less than or equal to in the case of lists. So I take another list 3 here and I check whether list 1 is equal to list 3. If you see here, list 3 has some of the elements of list 1 but not all. In order to be equal, both the lists should have the same number and the same value of elements. So this becomes false. Now, when I compare two lists, each element of the list is compared and the first difference is displayed in Boolean value. For example, I am checking 2410 is greater than 249. So all the corresponding values will be checked. So 2 will be checked with 2. Both of them are equal. 4 will be checked with 4 and then 10 will be checked with 9. So at the first difference, 10 is greater than 9. So this returned true. Had there been more values, so it would have continued checking if 10 had been equal to 10 here, and it would have continued checking. At the first difference in values, it would return the corresponding Boolean value. Okay, so you already know that lists are mutable. So we can change the specific values at the index positions. So if I have a list here 0 to 5 and I want to change the value at index position 1. So I can just say my underscore list 1 of index value 1 is equal to 3. So now if I'm printing my list 1, you can see here the value at index position 1 has now changed. So it is very simple to change the values in a list. I can also provide a range. So if you see here, I'm saying from index position 1 till the end of the list, you put the values. So these values 5 and 6 in this is a string value. So each each digit will become an element of the list. So if you see here, 5 becomes a separate element and 6 becomes a separate element. Similarly, if I want to add a longer string to my list, I can do that also. I am saying here that at index position 2 till the end of the list, add the value apple. So each letter will become a specific element of the list. So if you see here, my list has also grown. It has become longer. So you can specify the index value of the elements to change those specific values or elements in the list. Now we are going to look at the various list functions and also see the difference between them. Let us start with the append function. The append function, as you all know, is used to add a value or an element at the end of the list. Now, if you see here, when I first added 40, that got added to the end of the list. So it was printing fine. Next, I tried to add two values. So it gave me an error. Now, why did it give me an error? Because append takes only one argument. You can enter values in the form of a list. So if you see, I tried to append 50, 60, which was a list. So it also got added in the form of a list. Now, if I try to take the length of this list, 50 and 60 is treated as a single element. So if you see here, the number of elements is 5. Let us see the extend function. The extend function behaves a little different from the append function. The extend function will not take a single value, but it will take a list and add it to an existing list. Now, the only difference is that the extend function will add individual elements to the existing list. So if you see here in append, 50 and 60 got added as a single element, but using extend 110, 120 and 130 turned out to be individual elements. So now if I run the len function, which will give me the length of the list, this gives me 8. 50 and 60 are treated as one element, then 110 is another element, 120 is another element, and 130 is also another element. So that is why I got the length as 8. So this is also the difference between append and extend. Append, if you try and insert a list in an existing list, it will be treated as a single element. But in the case of extend, all the elements of the list that you're trying to insert will be inserted as individual elements. Now, the index function will specify the index of the element if it exists in the list. So if I am trying to find the index of the number 3 here, this was going to return the index position 1 here. I can also insert an element in a list. If you see here, append and extend will add elements to the end of the list. But if I want to add somewhere in between, so I can do that using insert function. This will take two arguments, the position at where the element has to be, at which the element has to be inserted, and the specific item or element that has to be inserted. So if I have a list here LT1 which contains three elements, apple, banana, mango, and at position index position 1 I want to insert the element orange. So I will use the insert function for this, and now if when I print my list, this will already have the element orange at index position 1. So it is very simple to add values to a list. The sort function, as you know, arranges the elements in ascending or descending order. So if you just give list1 dot sort, it will arrange the elements of the list in ascending order. If I want to arrange them in descending order, if you see I've taken a number list here, so I have to give an argument called reverse is equal to true. Once I give reverse is equal to true, it will then arrange the elements in descending order. Reverse function, as the name suggests, will reverse the elements of the list. A new list is not created. If you see using sort and reverse, the original list changes. So if I give list 3 dot reverse here, the list is printed in reverse, and this is the original list which has changed. Now, let us look at a nested list. As you all know, a list can contain values or elements of any data type. It can also contain another sublist. So, a list containing another list is called a nested list. If you see here, I've taken an example where I have 2, 3, 4 as a single list inside another list. Now, how do I access them? This is very simple. You can use the same indexing concept here. So at index position 1, I have these three values 2, 3 and 4, and I will further go down and then index them further, giving 0, 1 and 2. So if I say L of 1, I will get all the three values 2, 3 and 4. And if I want to access specific elements of L of 1, I again give another index position. So if I give L1 of 2, I will get 4. So this is L of 1, that is 2, 3 and 4, and second, that is 4. If I give L1 0, so L of 1 would be again this position 2, 3 and 4, and 0 would be this 2. Now I can also use the positive indexing, or I can use the negative indexing. As I told you before, you any of the two you can use and you will get the same answer. So here if I say I take the same list, L minus 3, minus 3 has these three values 2, 3 and 4, and if I want to access a particular element of L minus 3, I will also provide the index value of that element. So that will be L minus 3 minus 2, so that will give me 3. So I hope this will help you understand the concept of lists. Thank you.